It's a late night here in the capital of New York, Albany, New York. I'm doing this show specifically tonight because there's an interview that I'm trying to pull off in the morning that I need to insert into this show. But I don't know how long the interview will go, so I want to have a show to put it in, and that show needs to be done now. So in any case, I believe this is episode 108 of Coast to Coast Pinball. Let's go. Welcome to Coast to Coast Pinball. My name is Nate Shivers. This is a podcast commentary. I'm a man out of quarters, coming to you not live from Albany, New York. Out doing work for Taylor Guitars, doing Taylor Roadshows. Did a fantastic show tonight here in the Clifton Park area is where the show was tonight, for those keeping track. We'll be in Middletown, New York tomorrow night if you're so interested. Hamden, Connecticut, Thursday night. So what's going on? So we have an interview on this show that I'll either be editing into this show early on, like, I don't know, maybe right here, maybe, or maybe towards the end. I'm doing it in the morning, but I don't have time to do the whole show in the morning, so we're doing the show tonight. Don't know how long the interview is going to run. I don't know. So we shall see. In any case, if I've already edited that interview in, then wow, wasn't that awesome? Didn't you enjoy that? I think that was good too. If I haven't put that interview in yet, the interview will be with Ryan Claytor, who is a artist that many of you know from different pinball t-shirts, specifically the reason we're having this interview, the first ever Pinside t-shirt. He's the artist of that. And then Robin, who, owns and runs Pinside. So a very fun interview that I hope to be having in about 9 hours from now. So until then, we're going to do episode 108, which I got to tell you sounds absolutely insane to me to even say 108 episodes. That's a lot. I forget what number we're on all the time, and I have to go back to coast2coastpinball.com and actually look it up. It's kind of fun. So what's happening right now? Well, I played some pinball this week.
Trip reports.
Actually, it's kind of a two-part trip report, because I played some pinball last week as well, and I don't think I ever talked about it. So let's jump back 2 weeks ago. I had a free evening in the Boston area, and I went to one of my favorite places to play, which is Lanes and Games in Cambridge, Massachusetts. Lanes and Games is a bowling alley. They have an arcade, and they have a fantastic selection of pinball machines. They rotate some of their titles out, mostly later model Sterns. And in good shape. They charge $1 per play on the Stern games, so they're not cheap, and they keep them in nice shape. So currently, the highlights there are Metallica, Star Trek. I'm totally blanking. There's Spider-Man. They have an older Addams Family. They have a Simpsons Pinball Party. A couple other games. I think there's a AC/DC and an Iron Man also. So a really nice selection of well-kept games. And I'm kind of in the mood for a Stern game. I've really been jonesing to own a Stern. I've got America's Most Haunted coming. I think I'm getting closer to my spot in line. I'm hoping. But I've really been wanting, to go get a Metallica or get an Iron Man or something fast and Stern-like in its gameplay. And then The Walking Dead comes out. And, of course, now I'm on hold because I want to see what that's all about. I want to see what it looks like and what it plays like. So I went to Lanes and Games very much to play some games and the idea of, do I want this? So I played a bunch of Metallica. Really liked it. It has all the rules that have been released to date in a game. Played a lot of it. Put up some good scores. Had some fun. And then played Star Trek right after it. I'm falling out of love with Star Trek just a little bit. I don't know what it is that's not keeping my attention there, but I seem to really gravitate back towards Metallica before Star Trek. And I found myself playing that a lot more. Played a little Iron Man. I like that game. I don't know if that's an own game for me. AC/DC, I've kind of come full circle on AC/DC. I loved AC/DC when it came out. I sort of grew a little tired of it. I think I just saw it too many places. Didn't really hold my attention for a while, but now I'm sort of back. Now I'm kind of like into it again. I think watching Bo and Karen's videos on the Papa YouTube page on AC/DC scoring sort of rekindled my interest in that. I gotta tell you, knowing the rules just changes everything. And you know that, dear Coast to Coast Pinball listener. So I really at that point was sort of thinking Metallica, and this was a few weeks ago. Well, then the Walking Dead thing hit, and it confused me, because I don't know. Also a John board game. Some similarities, but boy, I gotta tell you, when you look at the interesting photos where people have taken X-Men and flip X-Men to a mirror image and compare it to The Walking Dead, it's staggering how close those games are in layout. So I've had a thing, maybe I want an X-Men, but there's not an X-Men for me to play on location really anywhere right now. So the moral of the story is, I had a good time at Lanes and Games. I enjoyed that place. There was nobody in there when I was in there. It was a Thursday night, I believe, and there was just no one there, and I had the run of the place to myself, and spent a lot of tokens. I enjoyed it. So that was Lanes and Games. So this week, I spent Friday night... Let's see, no, I got into Boston again. I flew all the way home to San Diego, and then a week later back to Boston. And Saturday night, I had a meeting in the afternoon and got done fairly early. So where do you go if you're in New England and you've got a lot of time on your hands? You go to Pelham, New Hampshire, to the Pinball Wizard arcade. I love this place. One of the best collections of DMDs as far as, spread of titles. Anywhere. Period. End of story. And they have some good older solid-state games, too. No EMs to speak of, I don't believe. But some older solid-states and lots of late model and early 90s Bally Williams era DMD games. So I went there also thinking I was going to play some, Sterns. And lo and behold, what do I see? A fancy-dancy Stern Mustang limited edition, I think. I have to actually go look this up because I don't remember which was which. It was the blue one, which is the limited edition, not the premium. I think the yellow one was the premium on that one. So anyway, I had not seen a premium or a limited edition Mustang in person yet. So that was very cool to go and actually play that in person. And I gotta say, I really enjoyed playing that game for a while. I was learning the rules. I really made it a point to take a look at this and really dissect the game as I play and look it over and try and figure out what I was doing, I guess was the best way to put it. Game looks great. It's bright. It's fast. I think it's almost too fast, to be quite honest with you. There comes a point when your slingshots are so sensitive and fast that it just randomizes the game so hard that I just feel like I'm not good enough for it, I guess is what I'm really trying to tell you. The outposts can be put in two different positions on the right and left side on this Mustang LE, and they were in the more open spots, so the ball was draining pretty hard left and right no matter what I did. The platform that the Mustang car sits on is just way bigger than I thought, kind of covers up more of the game than I would have thought. But the real story to me was my problem with the rule set on Mustang, because I kind of like the way it works. You choose your car, which has a different sort of mode that you're trying to collect the car in. But my problem is the shots on many of the modes are these clusters of small inserts that are all kind of right together, like really tight, and not very. They don't give a lot of satisfaction to hit. They're not shots where you hit them and you're like, yeah, I hit the. It's like I hit the two Metallica metal ramps. Those have a lot of satisfaction to them. Or I hit the, I think Tron has some of the most satisfying shots. Mustang to me is exactly the opposite. It's a game where none of the shots, and I kind of mean none of them, feel very great. They don't feel great. Even the big main jackpot ramp that lifts up and stuff, that one's okay, but I just don't feel great feedback from that game when I hit the shots. And there's a bunch of modes, and I forget which ones because they all sort of are car-based, race, chase, whatever. But some of the modes where there's two sets of three blinking small inserts that are all clustered together, and I feel like you're just kind of spraying and praying in a lot of ways, trying to hit something up there. But the game is random and it punishes you. For a really good player, this might be a fun game because it is, I think, kind of challenging in how fast it plays and how tight the shots are, and they're just not very diverse, and the feedback you get from those shots just doesn't do it for me. And it was funny because I went through this whole cycle of emotions playing Mustang where I was into it. It has a lot more songs than the Pro does. There's a lot of music, and I was collecting cars, and before I actually was starting to get somewhere in this game. I was trying to play real controlled, but I just don't really love the modes and what you're shooting for. Just, I don't know. It's okay. I still don't understand how you collect the darn Mustang letters. Somebody please explain that to me. Somebody, if you're listening to episode 108 in the next 48 hours, if you're going to listen to this a week later, don't do it. Don't waste your time because somebody will have already done it. But if you're listening to this, Tuesday, Wednesday of this week, tell me how you get the Mustang letters. Please explain that to me. And explain the carryover to the next. I don't get it. My mind isn't sharp enough anymore, I guess. But in any case, it's pretty cool that I can go play that game at the Pinball Wizard. It's right next to the Wizard of Oz. This is a arcade that also has a Star Trek limited edition. There's an Avatar, a Tron, all sorts of games. Lots and lots of games. So I spent a lot of time playing the solid state games. I've had this weird dichotomy of interests lately in what I want out of pinball. Because I think a lot of us go through, or at least we were going through a couple years ago, this late model Bally Williams craze where everybody wanted the same 15 or 20 games and the prices shot up and everyone wanted their Attack from Mars and their Medieval Madnesses and all that. I want my Champion Pub. So I still play those, but I spent a lot of time playing like Embryon and Paragon and games like that. I really enjoy sort of dissecting those games and the simplicity of it, yet the games are tough. And I kind of like that. I've played Xenon a bunch. I actually played Xenon a lot. See, there's a Xenon for sale in Southern California, and I've kind of been looking at it thinking, do I want to own a Xenon? So it's a fun game. I had a lot of fun playing that. I did play some Champion Pub. The game was kicking my butt for whatever reason. Doctor Who, just killing me. Why you got to do that? Played a lot of that. And then I did something that I have been meaning to do for a long time. Everybody has those games that are sort of popular to the masses that you don't understand why they're popular to masses. And I've actually had quite a few emails since I've been doing this show with my praise for Twilight Zone. I've gotten a lot of email saying I don't really get that game, or I don't love that game, or that game just doesn't do it for me. And they don't, people just don't understand why it rates so high and why people love it so much. And I take the time and I try and defend it and explain a few things about it in hopes that you can appreciate that game. Well, I've made some sort of, I wouldn't say disparaging because that's a little too harsh. I've made some comments about a couple different games over the past 107 episodes that has struck a chord with people where I get almost instant email like, dude, how could you say that about this game? And sometimes they go into these long, in-depth emails. And there's two games very specifically that have done that. One of them is the Addams Family. I talked about the Addams Family a long time ago and kind of said, didn't get why it was, still so highly thought of. I got why it was at the time, but not why still. And I had a couple emails that kind of, got me thinking. And then in preparation for Papa, I really went and learned a lot of strategy on Addams Family. And now I kind of love Addams Family. It worked. I understand the game. I know the scoring. And it's more appealing to me to walk up and play to. And I've been playing it all over the place. And it's kind of, I guess, my theme of this whole trip report is when you take the time to understand the theme and learn how it scores, you're going to like the game better. And sometimes at big arcades or places with lots of games, you just never do that because you can't focus. You're trying to play so many different games. So I had already done that with Addams Family. And there's been another one that I've riled up some conversation about. And that's Creature from the Black Lagoon. Now, I think what I've generally always thought of Creature from the Black Lagoon is this. I love the way the game looks. I love the artwork. The art package is awesome. I love the theme. I love that we're dealing with a universal monster, Creature from the Black Lagoon. It's awesome. But we're taking this sort of different take on it. We're taking the drive-in movie theater take. Fantastic. But I've always felt uncomfortable playing that game. I always felt I couldn't see much. Like everything's sort of crowded by the ramps and the snack bar shots are all... You just couldn't see what was going on. And I don't really love that music, that 50s music. A lot of people cite that as one of their most, favorite parts of Creature from the Black Lagoon. I don't really love it. But let me tell you, I do love the way it looks. And I sat down in front of that game, and I read the rule sheet. I even got on my phone and looked at it again. I wanted to make sure I really understood all four of the main things you have to shoot at to get multi-ball, how to find the creature. And I just sat there, and I put tokens and tokens into Creature from the Black Lagoon until I got it. And I had a lot of fun with that game. I had a lot of fun. and I was trying to figure out different strategies on like, plunging the ball, and should I go all the way around and try and instantly hit the slide shot, or should I just let it fall into the rollovers and start lighting the film targets or the film rollover inserts? And I really got into it. And man, when you do get all that, and then you start the feature and you start looking for the creature, that music's awesome. That is really cool. Now, I never found the creature because I was draining a lot by that point, but I did look for him a bunch of times, and that's cool. So I had a great time playing Creature from the Black Lagoon, and I will no longer say anything but nice things about that game, I believe. So I had a lot of fun. That was really my trip to the Pinball Wizard. I played a lot of the Stern games, a lot of Mustang. Man, I played a lot of that Mustang game. Played a lot of Doctor Who, a lot of Creature from the Black Lagoon. Played Maverick. Always play Maverick because it's actually on location there, and it's fun. Played GNR. Played some Guns N' Roses because everyone loves that game. Like when I declared that I think Tales from the Crypt is the greatest Data East game, I had two games that I got thrown back at me, and it was Guns N' Roses and Tommy. So I played them both. I still think Tales from the Crypt's a better game. That's just me. Guns N' Roses, it's okay. Not my favorite. Tommy, I don't like the way it shoots. So Tales from the Crypt, to me, still Data East, high point. And they have all those games there, by the way, at the Pinball Wizard. So, yeah. Oh, one more quick trip report. After that, the next day, Sunday, I was driving, and the Massachusetts Turnpike has rest areas along the way. And I have found pinball machines at these rest areas before. And I've never taken note of where they are, and I don't know anything. Although, one time there was an AC/DC one, and I played it. This time, I just randomly stopped at a rest station, gas station thing. One of the official ones. Not like an exit off into a town, but like just the state-sponsored one that has a McDonald's and I think this one has a Boston Market in it. And lo and behold, there it was. An episode 1 Pinball 2000 Star Wars game. And man, I have a podcast on pinball. I promote pinball. So when I'm in a place like that and I see a pinball machine that's in good condition, I feel it's my duty to put money into that game. So I did that. So I stood there in between the men's and women's restrooms in this rest area, and I played Star Wars Episode 1. A game I have not played in quite a while because I've never really been a big fan of it. And I kind of got into it. I was doing really well, having fun with it. I hate the one shot. I believe it's the skill shot, but it's also the shot to get an extra ball. Because I don't fully understand how they expect you to hit that shot unless it's a ricochet or a soft plunge. I don't know that there's any other way to hit that. And I did finally get my extra ball by a weird ricochet that I sort of did on purpose, but I don't know, man. But I had fun with it, and it was in pretty good shape. No, the lightsaber did not work. That tube was burnt out. No surprise to those of you who know the game. But I did play it, put $1 in it. It was funny because I put $1 in it, and it gave me 2.5 credits. I don't know how that worked, so I left half a credit on there for somebody else to enjoy my half credit. So somewhere out there in Massachusetts, between Worcester and Albany, New York, there's a Star Wars Episode 1 waiting for you. I hope you find it, and I hope you enjoy it.
Check the email.
All right, just in case this interview that I'm clearly now going to put on the end of this show, but it's a good interview. Freaking Robin from Pinside and Ryan Clater, dudes. But just in case that doesn't run long enough for this episode to be complete, I'm going to answer a couple questions because I've got a big old full mailbag here. So let's jump into my Gmail account that you can also reach at coast2coastpinball@gmail.com. And that's coast, the number 2, coastpinball@gmail.com. I had somebody who'd claimed to be emailing me for months, but I think they were emailing me at coast. And that just won't get to me. So, all right. First email here is from Rob. Rob writes me and says, "Hey Nate, curious if you've listened to the One and Done Pinball podcast, and if so, what are your thoughts? I think what these guys are doing is very cool and great for the hobby. Thanks, love your show, Rob." Hi Rob. Actually, yes, I have listened to think some of 4 of them possibly. I would have to go back and look at which each one was. I know that episode 1 of the One and Done podcast, and for those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, the One and Done podcast is a podcast where each episode is recorded by somebody new. You do one and you're done. Get it? And the first episode is actually by someone who I've met in person and who owns an awesome arcade in Oklahoma City called Cactus Jack's Family Fun Center, I want to say. Family Fun Center. I call it Cactus Jack's with the awesome 40-some pinball machines. And Dan hosts episode 1 and owns that place, and he kind of is doing an intro to the One and Done podcast as a concept, and then he talks about his arcade, how he got to the arcade, his love for pinball, and the future prospects. And I've been to Cactus Jack's. It is freaking awesome. I mean, because he has, I think he claims in the podcast, and it's been a few weeks since I've listened to that podcast, but I think he claims 45 games, but he has a bunch more in the back, so he has all the greatest games to choose from. The games are in possibly the best condition of any location games I've ever seen, except, maybe Papa. I would say they're as good as the Papa games. I would say his and Papa are probably my top 2 as far as condition of games. But it's a very nicely curated, word I can't say very well late at night, apparently, curated group of games, mostly late model DMDs and the new games. And it's awesome. And it's in Oklahoma City, so it's kind of center of the country. You're not left out there. I know I do a lot of stuff on either coast, and Chicago area is obviously full of stuff, and Austin, Texas has great pinball. But Oklahoma City has a fantastic place to play. I know they do a lot of league stuff there. It was interesting listening to that first episode of the One and Done pinball podcast that Dan hosts. Is he says that his best earning games are still the new Stearns, which I don't know what that means exactly. There's something to be learned out of that. But he has some fantastic condition games like, No Good Gophers and all the hits. I mean, he has all the hits. I shouldn't even, why bother, Medieval Madness, all the games. But he says and claims that the best earning games are still the latest, the newest Stearns. So he's no longer buying any of the old stuff. In fact, he's looking to sell some of them, I believe. But he is buying all the new Stearns. So please go support him and Cactus Jack's if you're in the area. And yeah, then I did listen to the show through 4 episodes, I think is where I got to, and I'll listen to the rest. 2 was I'm blurring them together. Well, anyway, I won't go through each one of them, but I did listen. I like them. I think it's a great concept. I would encourage anybody who listens to my show and thinks, oh, I could do that. Well, go do it, man. Go do a One and Done podcast. Some of the shows were recorded basically just with iPhone headset mics, like the earbuds with the microphone on it. That's all they use to record. You don't have to get fancy. You can use Audacity. A couple of the guys use an iPhone app, I think, with pretty good results. One of the episodes, 3 possibly, was recorded in a car while driving, which kind of stole an idea I was going to do. I actually was going to set myself up to be able to, I had a long drive a couple of months ago and was going to record a show as I drove, and then sort of decided I didn't want to be the podcasting dude who killed somebody on the road while recording live, because I could just see that headline on CNN. And I didn't want to be that guy, so I didn't do it. I'm not saying I won't ever, but he kind of took that idea, so I appreciated that. Thought that was good. And then there's a good one. The last one I listened to was subtitled. He had his own title for it. I believe it was I want to get this right. I'm doing all this by memory, so sorry. Not prehistoric, that's not right. Darn it. I apologize to whichever episode it was. But it was basically, that'll drive me insane. It was a podcast based on games from the 60s, 70s, and 80s, because as the host noted, and he's very much correct in this assessment, there is not a lot of love for those games on the current podcasts. And by love, I say, not a lot of attention. I would love to do more talk and rundowns on games from the 60s, 70s, and 80s, but I simply don't know them that well. I love some of them, and I will try and look for spots where I can do them, but I just simply do not know the games that well. I don't know the history that well, and I don't want to disrespect that. I think it's almost a joke, and I know that I've done a lot of jokes about the fact that any game, pre-DMD to me is an EM, or any game pre-1980 is just an EM to me. They're all just sort of this like magical EM cloud in my head, and that's not entirely true. But what I guess I'm really trying to say is I'm not the guy to do that. I'm not the guy to talk about wedge heads and stuff like that. This is not for me. I don't know how to work on those games. I know it's tough. But episode, I believe, 4 of the One and Done podcast really goes into that, and I'm pausing this episode. I'm going to find what that thing is called. Hold, please.
This time there will be no mistakes.
Primitive. You think I could come up with that? Primitive. Thank you. The Primitive Pinball Podcast. I got it. Thank you. So that is very cool. So if you're into talk about older games, definitely check that out. In fact, the last episode that I believe I listened to, if it might have been that one, but the one either before that or after that was a podcast all about totally blanking. It was all about somebody who had just bought, it was Scott was his name, and he'd just gotten a Mustang, and he also had a Space Invaders, and I really liked listening to everything that he did on those on that Space Invaders machine specifically. So yes, to answer your question that I asked a long time back, Rob, I have listened to those. I do like them. I appreciate them. I'm always looking for more content. I'm always out of content. I listen to the Pinball Podcast as soon as it comes out. I listen to Spooky Pinball usually the day it's out. I listen to the Pinheads Pinball Podcast right when it comes out. I listen to everything pinball related. I listen to Game Room Junkies. I listen to Lock When Lit. I listen to, I'm forgetting one, and I feel really bad right now. But yeah, Broken Token. I listen to all of them. I have a lot of airplane time and a lot of driving, so I do enjoy it. So thank you very much for the email. I had another email pulled out here. Oh, yeah, so I mentioned the whole 5-ball scoring versus 3-ball scoring in the last episode. I had a lot of emails on that. A couple games kept coming up for games where you could not look at your 3 balls total in a 5-ball game if the game is set to 5 balls, and look at your 3-ball total to get a really perfectly accurate assessment of your score if you're trying to like compare your score versus a score set on a 3-ball machine. Doctor Who is one that came up quite a bit, which I didn't even think of. I don't even think I realized there was a bonus there at the end. And then Phantom of the Opera was also another one that came up as ones where you could not do that. So thank you. I still contend 5 balls is cheating, and I will completely stand by that. Let's see here. Looking at some t-shirt orders. If you ordered a t-shirt recently, those will go out this weekend or early next week, 'cause I have not been around. And then people telling me that I called The Walking Dead. Yeah, I called The Walking Dead a while back. I knew. I was told. People tell me this stuff, and I'm faced with the challenge when somebody tells me the next string game is The Walking Dead. I'm faced with, well, what do I say? Do I get on the podcast and be like, hey, it's The Walking Dead, now what? So I'll throw it up on Facebook. The latest one that people are accusing me of sandbagging on and knowing is the next Planetary Pinball remake. Yeah, I think I know what it is. In fact, I know what it is. I'll announce it when I think I'm allowed to announce it. I think that one's actually pretty easy to figure out. So, what could it be? In any case, that's going to be it for Mailbag. That's going to be it for the bulk of this episode. We're going to do this interview with Ryan and Robin, and I'm sure if it's not fantastic, it's more than fantastic. So I'll put a little bumper on the end of the show, and we'll call that episode 108. Thank you. All right, I would like to welcome to Coast2Coast Pinball right now from Pinside, Robin Van Mark, and from Elephant Eater Comics and all sorts of other art projects, Ryan Clater. How are you guys doing today?
Great.
Hey, man. Yeah, pretty good.
Thanks for having us on, Nate.
Well, I'm excited to have you guys on because there's kind of a tie-in. We get to do a little plug here, and it's just general good pinball community stuff. Ryan emailed me and gave me the heads up that the new Pinside, the first ever Pinside T-shirt was coming out soon.
and I think that's big for the website. It's a cool thing to promote the website, which obviously my show takes a big part in. We use the forums for a lot of the content of the show, and Ryan actually did the artwork for the shirt. So I'd love you guys to kind of give me the rundown on how you got together on this, how you guys met via the internets, I'm guessing, and then where the artwork came from for the shirt.
All right.
Yeah.
Well,
Robin, you want to start this off?
Do you want to start up?
I'll defer to you, and then I'll take second fiddle.
Okay. Well, I was thinking about doing a shirt for a long time, so it wasn't until I noticed a post by Ryan that I figured this guy knows how to draw, right? And I really liked his style, and so I sent him a PM, and things got rolling, and he came up with a sketch. I really liked it at the first sight, so yeah, that's basically how we met.
Very cool. So Ryan, you got the message from Robin, and how many attempts did you take at it, or was what the sketch you sent to Robin, was that the final drawing? Was that the first one, or?
We've been working on this for a couple months, honing an idea that Robin had. He initially emailed me, and after I cleaned myself up and realized that the founder of Pinside wanted to work with me, I said, yeah, of course, I'd like to do this. So essentially, Robin came to me with this idea of having multiple different interests in pinball all kind of gathered around this central location and talking about all the things that we do on Pinside. And my suggestion was to not just have the people, but include the speech balloons, kind of like you do in comics. And I think that helps to clarify what each person is doing. So I sent him, a couple of what Robin affectionately refers to as napkin sketches, which were just quick thumbnail sketches. And we decided on one of those straight away. It was super, super rough, but over the next couple months, we continued honing that, going from rough sketch to more finished pencils to revisions of those pencils to final inks to revisions of those inks to colors. And it's just been a pleasure working with Robin. I mean, if you stop to talk with this guy for any length of time, you'll come to find out pretty quickly that he's an awfully nice dude, and it was great working with him.
Thanks, man. Nice to hear that.
Well, I think Robin, you are pretty highly thought of in the community. Just for, everybody having Pinside as a tool, it's certainly been a big part of the resurgence in pinball, because I think we all needed a home on the internet, and the options that were there before Pinside, or maybe alongside Pinside for a while, probably didn't have the spread of usability. And I think that's kind of what's cool about the shirt, is it does show all the different sides of Pinside, because there's a lot of people, I'm sure, go to Pinside and don't use the forum every day like I do, but maybe they're in the market, they're looking at the archive, they're looking at the top 100.
Yeah, that's the idea, and I also wanted to bring some focus to the other sections of the site, because obviously the forum is the most well known, I think. But there's a lot of other cool stuff to do, and I thought let's try and get that all in one image. So.
Robin, is there a part of the site that you see when you look at your hits and where your traffic goes that you kind of feel surprised more people aren't frequenting, or maybe it makes you think, what could we do to increase this part of the website?
Well, I think stuff like scores, game scores, is something that I like to do myself. To input scores regularly, and that's something that gets used. It does see some use, but maybe it could get some more traffic. And I think the same goes for the stories. There's a lot of cool stories in the community section, I think maybe I should put some more focus on that. Try to get some more people to visit that part.
Very cool. Ryan, is this your first artwork for a pinball project?
No, I started doing artwork for pinball probably around the beginning of this year. There's a local show here in Michigan called Pinball at the Zoo,
yep.
And that's in Kalamazoo, Michigan, and really great show, very relaxed environment, very family friendly. It's one of the few shows that my wife wants to go to, and so consequently I have a big connection to that show. Plus the guy who runs it is a great guy. His name's Kevin, and I've went to his merch table and was looking at his shirts, and I kind of wished there was something a little more for me to purchase. They made shirts every year, but it was a little on the clip art side, and so I contacted him and said, hey, what would you think if I tried doing a shirt for you guys? And he pretty much gave me carte blanche to do whatever I wanted to. And so you might see it's like a green shirt with a bunch of robots playing pinball, and I just basically did whatever I wanted to do and had a blast doing it. And that shirt ended up selling not only in Michigan, but surrounding states and over to Europe and Australia. And it just got a huge support from the community after posting it on Pinside. So that was kind of my first foray into pinball artwork. And after that, I've been getting, a good number of people coming to me saying, hey, can you work with me on this project? So Robin is one of the more high profile of those projects, and I was really happy to be a part of it.
That's awesome. So Robin, have you thought about doing a limited edition, like an LE version of the shirt that maybe has some special trim on it or not? Has that crossed your mind at all?
Well, it didn't in the beginning, but after reading the feedback after the launch on Friday, there were a lot of funny comments in that thread.
Yeah.
People had jokes like, can we put how did it go? Something like, can we put the whiners on the backside or something like that? And
my favorite suggestion was we should put a troll underneath the pinball machine.
Yeah.
Well, I wasn't going to say it, but since you brought it up, I kind of wondered why the guy who's typing on the computer didn't look more like a troll myself. But that's just me poking fun, because that's what I do. No, that's really good stuff. So, Robin, I got to ask you, because this is something I get asked a lot, because as my podcast here has gained some traction, obviously nowhere near the length of Pinside, a lot of people ask me, well, that's cool. You've got, some thousands of people listening. How do you make money off of it? And I don't even really consider that, because I never started this as a money-making project. But it is an interesting question to look at something that it's a hobby. Not a lot of people are making money off of pinball. I mean, there are some. But how do you sort of monetize or try and at least make some money to break even? I know you have the donations going on the site, which I encourage people on the show to donate to Pinside. But, do you look at merchandise ideas or other ways that you could possibly monetize all this effort and work you put into the website?
Well, it's been something that's been on my mind more often since the last 2 years, and that's mostly because my time spent on the site is growing exponentially. So it used to be like maybe 1 hour a day or something, and nowadays I'm almost I need a full day,
Yeah,
like work day, like a full work week. So it's actually becoming my job, and jobs, you need to make money. So yeah, I've been starting to think about ways to monetize for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. And you'll be at Expo, correct? You're giving a seminar.
Yeah. That's right.
Any little tip of the hat as to what the subject matter of your seminar will be?
Well, I named it the past, present, and future of Pinside, and I told it to someone. He said, "Ah, cool. So what's it going to be about?" I said, "I have no idea." So I still need to work on it, but I think I'm going to start off by telling people a little about how it all started. A lot of people are interested in that, and then just maybe the current challenges we face every day, and maybe like a little look into the future.
Very
Ending
cool.
with a Q&A, of course. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Are you coming out to Expo, Ryan?
I am, yeah. My 1-year-old son and I will be at Expo Thursday through Saturday.
Oh, that's awesome. Very cool. Well, I really look forward to you guys being there, and I look forward to meeting you both in person. We're going to give away a free T-shirt, one of these new awesome Pinside T-shirts designed by Ryan through here at Coast2Coast Pinball, and we're looking for the third person to send me a picture of their initials on a pinball machine. Could be anywhere, in their house, in the wild, whatever. The third person to email me a photograph of their initials and them on a pinball machine will get a free T-shirt donated by Pinside and Ryan, which I think is really awesome. I appreciate you guys doing that on the show.
And Robin.
And Robin, yes. Oh, absolutely.
Actually, Nate, do you mind if I ask Robin a quick question?
No, by all means, go for it.
I'm sort of a history nerd when it comes to pinball. I love hearing about this stuff. And you mentioned that Pinside has been around for, 10 or 12 years now? And
we're going to celebrate the 12th year on November 18th. So that's the day we launched.
So I'm kind of curious. I'm guessing it didn't start with the forum that we all know and love. How did Pinside, what was its first iteration, and how did it come to encompass all it did today? And if I'm taken away from your expo seminar, feel free to tell me to come to the expo seminar.
Well, I'm gonna tell that at the expo. But it started with the solid state pinball database, and it was like a hobby project, and really just a thing to get into programming, and I don't know. I needed to work on something pinball. I just had my first pinball game, so that's how it started, I guess. And
if I have my
2007, so that's a lot later, 5 years later. So
your first game was Doctor Who, correct? Do I have that right?
Yeah.
A favorite of Nate.
I know, and I believe his second was Twilight Zone, another favorite of mine.
That's wow. You know your facts.
It's frightening that people know stuff. Like, I get that all the time. People meet me and they say "Oh, this," and I'm thinking, "Wow, why do you know that?" So I had to turn that on you there, Robin. That I know some little known facts out there.
Well, I know your wife doesn't like Walking Dead. So
exactly. See, there you go. Fair enough.
But we don't know that he's not going to get one.
I don't know. I don't know, Robin, if you're noticing your forums are blowing up this morning with traffic, but the first videos of The Walking Dead have been posted.
It's my good friend Jonathan Joosten from Pinball Magazine. He's there at the show, and it's funny because I was planning to go as well on Thursday, so he kind of beat me to this, but he does a better job than me, I think. In letting Gage turn play.
he's really good at what he does, so that's awesome. And as are both of you guys. So, Ryan, give a quick plug of your artworks. I know you come out to Comic-Con. You're heavily involved in your Elephant Eater comics. I mean, give us a quick plug here so people can check out more of your work.
Sure. Elephant Eater Comics is self-published moniker I publish my own comics under. It's a saying that my dad used to tell me as a kid all the time. He'd say, well, it's like eating an elephant. You just do it one bite at a time, and before you know it, you're done. So I always think about that when I have big projects in front of me, like, making books or, teaching or what have you, kind of keep myself grounded and pay tribute to the Pops too. But most of my work is in the form of autobiographical comics, so they're stories about my life. And I also teach at Michigan State University and the University of Michigan Flint. I teach comics studio courses there. So over the course of a semester, my students go from conception to completion, and we finish the class with an in-store signing at a local comic book store. So they kind of get the full gamut. So that's kind of a quick wrap-up of what I do.
Very cool. Anything else either of you guys would like to add before we sign off here?
No, I think I just heard that you're going to be on the expo panel as well, right? The podcast panel.
I will, yeah. I'll be on the podcast panel. It's going to be an unruly bunch of hoodlums with shenanigans thrown in for the fun of it. I have no idea what exactly we're going to talk about. I assume it'll be sort of madness ensuing at expo. So definitely looking forward to that seminar. And
that's at the desirable time of 9 a.m. Saturday morning, right?
Well, when you have a slow time at your expo, you bring all the podcasters in to get everybody up early. That's what you do, see? Or something.
Maybe they did that to tone you guys down a bit.
That could also be it.
They still will be hungover from Friday, and they'll be sleeping. And,
I can't imagine that would happen. Not possible.
I can guarantee you guys at least two people in the audience, because my son is going to be up well before 9 a.m., so we'll be there.
That's awesome. Well, I'm looking forward to it, and I look forward to sitting down with everybody and doing some on-location interviews for the show. That's going to be a big part of what I'm doing at Expo. So get everyone's take, because there's going to be a lot of news for everyone to talk about, so that'll be fun.
Oh, yeah, it's going to be the best Expo ever, I think.
I think that's the vibe I'm getting. I'm getting a lot of buzz, a lot of emails. I think that's what's coming for us is a big, exciting expo. So,
well, I mean, Pinside's going to be there, so how can it not be, right?
Have you ever been to Expo, Robin?
No, I haven't. But to comment on what Ryan's saying, I think that's the worst part of it, actually.
No,
because I was actually starting to get a bit nervous about the whole thing, and but Rob Burke, the organizer of Expo, he promised me there would be no more than maybe 40, 50 people in the audience. So that's how I'm coping.
There you go. No, I'm sure you'll do great. People want to hear the story because it is a great story. Pinside's an amazing resource, and I really appreciate it. I'm sure a lot of others are going to be happy to get to tell you how much they appreciate what you do for the hobby.
Well, that's cool. Thanks, man.
Awesome. Thank you guys for coming on Coast to Coast today, and we'll meet you guys next month.
Yeah,
Thanks
cool.
for having us, Nate. Great to meet you, and again, congratulations on the marriage.
Thanks, man. Well, there you have it. Episode 108 in the books. Awesome to have Robin and Ryan on the show. I mean, like I said in the interview, I could talk to Robin forever just about Pinside and pinball and his opinion on things. So hopefully we'll get to do that again. If you'd like to win your very own Pinside t-shirt, you need to email me at coast2coastpinball@gmail.com. Coast, number 2, coastpinball@gmail.com. A photograph of you with your initials on a pinball machine. The third one I get will win the t-shirt. So I've never done a giveaway on the show before, first one ever, and this is your chance. So I look forward to seeing that. Thank you guys for listening. We'll talk to you again very soon.